Hello. So if you're watching this video, this is a video explainer that teaches about the course Live Your Light, which is a combination of gene keys, human design, shamanism, Taoism, alchemy, and a little bit about mystical anatomy and teaching the anatomy of your nervous system from the perspective of frequency and light. So if you're new to me, my name is Sarah Shepard. I'm a Gene Keys guide. I have been coaching, working with counseling, guiding people for a little over 20 years. And the last 5 years, I've been particularly drawn to the human design system and the Gene Keys system as an opportunity to help people understand how to curate a program for their own awakening that's specifically designed for them. So where I found human design and gene keys gave me a really incredible lens of a person. What shifted for me as a coach was that I stopped trying to teach a person a way, and I turned instead towards what is the perfection of their way and how can I help them understand and reduce any friction in their life related to their way. And when I did that, both for myself and for the clients or the people that I was working with, what I found is that they didn't need to buy any more coaching programs anymore. They didn't need to read more books about the process of awakening or why they were suffering, or even to go and spend as much money on counselors or therapy in general. Because we stop trying to fix ourselves when we start really claiming the self that is unique and us. And we're in a time of incredible transformation. In this time that we're in, humanity is starting to kind of raise an eyebrow and starting to kind of question the way that we've solved problems. And we're all asking ourselves this question, which is that a match for me? Is that really the truth of my human experience? Or is there this other sort of voice in the background that I'm really curious about listening to? And that voice is your soul. So when I used to talk to people about soul work, or when I started to work with people, and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars working with other coaches. And I remember when they would talk about soul or spirit or sort of these elements, the really practical side of me would kind of be like, well, that's really woo. And I don't know, it's kind of neat, but I don't know if it's a match for me. And then I started to discover how to work with my nervous system and how to understand a regulated nervous system experience, which is open, it is aligned, it is curious, it has a magnetism to it that draws people and life experiences towards you. And when I started to be able to track the times that I was experiencing that for myself, that's when I started to really be able to see, oh, that's the soul energy moving through the nervous system energy. And because my background was originally in massage therapy and osteopathy, I have a detailed 20-year resume of courses related to physical anatomy and healing. And then when I started to discover mystical anatomy, I was able to see how they started to overlay together. Now, 5 years into Gene Keys coaching and human design coaching, what I have consistently seen over and over and over again is that it doesn't matter what your gene keys are. And it doesn't matter if you're this is human design language now. It doesn't matter if you're a projector or a manifestor or a generator or a manifesting generator, or any of the human design types. The way that your specific light wants to move into the world has everything to do with your ability to regulate your nervous system and to hold space for transformation. And this shows up in our relationships with the people that are closest to us, our relationship to money, abundance, and resources all around us, as well as our esteem and level of endorsement that we have for ourselves. So these kind of 3 points create what we know as triggers, right? They create this response that we associate with a movement towards or a movement away from. And if we run at something or if we run away from something, in both cases, there's this escapee nature, this fight flight nature that we know as our, it's a reactive pattern in the nervous system. And we can go through these patterns over and over and over again, expecting that another program is going to help us stop finding a relationship with only red flags, or another diet is going to help us finally come to a space where we can love our body for the way that our body is. And everything is always outside of us. So we want to take that trigger. We want to dive into that discomfort, and we want to actually really unpack the beauty of the information that's in that pattern, that's in that trigger, that's in that discomfort, because that trigger, that pattern has an alchemical energy to it that creates a transformation, that creates a liberal experience of life. It takes that stuck feeling and it releases it. It liberates that stuck energy, which is often just a fixation in the way we view the world. Now, I have not found that when I break down all of the fixations that a person has for them, that they respond to this with, "Oh, thank you, Sarah. I'm so grateful to see all of these patterns that I have." It feels horrible. It feels terrible to start to really work with our shadows. That element of the ugh and agitation is a barrier for most people to really harvest the gold that's in our triggers. The triggers are treasures. But to stay with the harvesting process, it takes time, it takes gentleness, it takes slowness. And so I rarely do personal one-on-one readings anymore to show people their shadows because it's unkind. It really just triggers their nervous system into this response that feels like I'm bad and wrong. And then we go through these bad and wrong patterns in our relationships or with money or with our health. And so I've built a 3-month program that is specifically teaching us how to work with our 4 prime gifts, our activation sequence, the gifting frequency that we associate with our highest expression, the lens that we look through the world, the clearing off the mirror of self-reflection, and then allowing ourselves to come into a relationship with your chemistry, a relationship with your biology as an oracle of truth for you to be in. There's not a doing. This is so confusing to the Western culture, where everything we do is like, in the next moment, I'm going to achieve the thing that's going to solve the problem. And then the next thing comes and we're looking for the next thing to achieve the thing to solve the problem. And maybe it's more money or more status or more energy. And the pattern repeats and the pattern repeats because the pattern is trying to show us. It's this maze that's trying to show us a new layer of our abundant experience. So 6 workshops are specifically designed to teach you how the energy can be explored in your life, in your relationships with your children, in your relationships with your partners, in your relationship to abundance, money, and resources, or in your relationship with your health. That's the first workshop is really about human design and the way that we are light bodies living in a matter body. We're both consciousness and matter. We're both wave and particle. We're frequency and sound. The orientation to this is a little bit jostling to most people, you know, to be able to start to shift to like, wait, hang on. I'm not this identity that I've been defending so fiercely for so long. I'm more than the expression of my DNA. That gives us a shift. And that shift we work with over a 2-week span. And you're doing this first workshop in combination with your Gene Keys activation sequence. So we work on the nervous system together. And then you go into a 2-week container where you have self-directed learning. You have webinars from Richard Rudd, you have meditations, you have beautiful information to really help you start to understand the conceptualization of living your light, of your awakening experience, of your multidimensional self. And then we do another workshop. And in these layers, we start to repattern the way that the nervous system responds to the awakening experience, to the understanding of, okay, I had blinders on and I am now able to see, and I'm able to hold all that I see in an experience of my embodied wisdom. This breaks down codependent patterns. This breaks down addictive patterns. It allows us to see and slow down and catch when we're choosing and voting for the same thing that's actually causing us suffering, and then build a new relationship with that thing. So that's the second workshop. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth workshops are all specifically related to how can I really drive the authority of myself as my ship, my story I'm writing, my hero's journey. And how can I allow other people to do the same? My partners, my children, how can I encourage and empower other people to do the same? Because as we all do this work together, we become our own alchemists. We start to take our chemistry in our body, our electromagnetic chemistry, which creates our aura, and it creates the frequency of the physical expression of our DNA. And we expand our capacity to move through transformation in a beautiful way. This is something that I've been studying in shamanism now I've been studying shamanism for, like, devotedly studying shamanism for about 5 years. I would argue that it's been the imprint of my whole life, but this is very much related to the shamanistic way of moving through change and beauty. So in this way of living, you might think you're going to be some big, sexy version of yourself on the other side of it. And I would say you won't. You just organically stop blaming the world for being the problem, and you start turning towards yourself and acknowledging the truth of your expression. And then you ask better questions, you seek higher desires, you relate to the world from a space that feels like you're in alignment, like your mind and your heart and your belly are all saying the same thing. When we struggle with dissonance, when we struggle, what led you here to open this video usually is some level of struggle. I feel like my life is not the way that I want it to be. So the mind is saying one story, the feelings are saying another story, and the intuition, the gut self, the knowing self, the identity self, it's telling a different story. So all three aren't aligned. As we bring all three into alignment over a 12-week journey, our biology starts to produce more neurotransmitters and hormones that influence our health in such a way that we radiate this beauty. I'm 45 years old. I've never had plastic surgery. I've never had any kind of like injections or anything. I don't have wrinkles on my face unless I really smile and put it together. The reason for that is because my biology is like fixing itself all the time, because I know how to love and claim and be with my whole human experience. Everyone can do this. We stop manifesting disease. We stop manifesting challenge in the same way. We stop manifesting crisis and drama in our life when we start to see where we're voting for crisis and drama. And it's not like this big well, for some people it is. Like, there is definitely layers of breakthrough and epiphany that can happen in this, but a lot of it is really starting to break down these simple principles of Taoism, which I will teach you. I will teach you how to use the energies of Taoism in your nervous system through this alchemical process. And Taoism, in this kind of like way of looking at it, a more simplistic way of describing it is like yang is light and masculine and consciousness, and it has inherent qualities of boundary, of wise action, of discernment. There's a doingness nature to yang. There's a logical, structured, There's a dominance to it. It's about evolution. It's about attention out. So that's just a frequency of consciousness. That's just one side. That's the masculine side of the human experience. I like to say the yang experience because you can be a woman and have really solid yang consciousness and really solid yin consciousness, and you'd be a really balanced, mature woman, mature in your energy expression, wise in your energy expression. Or you can be a man who is completely unboundaried, who doesn't understand how to choose what's right for him, to choose what's right for his family, to create a relationship with his own health that has like a certain level of discipline built into it. Because he's too much in the yin, or in this expression, there's an over-identification with the nature of yin, which is it's right hemisphere related, it's related to flow, it's related to dynamism, it's related to freedom. There's an embodied intelligence that's a part of it. So it's like this intuitive understanding. It has qualities such as surrender, trust. It's the nature to kind of contract and to hide in the shadow. It's more inward. It's intended to be more inward. It has a nature of love built into it. It's submissive, not in a judgmental, like pushover way. It's in a surrendered expression. So these are the parameters of our conscious experience. These are the right and the left side of the river of our life. We want to be integrated in the center. We want to be navigating where there isn't these rapids of karma and drama and challenge and pain and agitation. When we're centered in our being self and are able to go towards our discipline, choose wise action, meet our nervous system in its fight, flight, freeze response, and offer deeper layers of feeling and embodiment and tenderness to ourselves, what ends up happening is healing. It has the organic nature to create healing within us. And I'm going to read a few things to you, and I'm going to share this slide that I have because a lot of people really start to kind of get it when they get to take a look at what the nervous system looks like when it's in a reactive or a repressive tendency. So the nervous system, when it's paralleled to the fight, flight, freeze response, these are like some of the slides that you'll get to see when you work with me. That's not the right one. So the nervous system, as an example of what it looks like for being in flight. So you've got the biology that is in this overworking, overthinking, panicking, OCD, difficulty sitting still, perfectionism, avoidance, hypersensitivity, sadness, loneliness. So that's a gear. Like that's a nervous system gear. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of our ancient nervous system and it's kept us alive. It's very valuable. But we don't want to live there. We want to be responsive to life so that if we need to fight, we do that and we respond to life and we protect a boundary and then we relax again. We come back into our tenderness. We come back into our lovability. We come back into our relating. We start to build art and, create new elements of enrichment in life. We have more enriched experiences in life. If you're constantly in the fight mode, that means that your nervous system is overly in the reactive side of the yang. And so it actually needs more yin. So the alchemy becomes building in yin experiences to desensitize the yang response in the nervous system so that we can soften, so that we can come to trust, so that we can come to an experience of wholeness and abundance. A fight nervous system looks like angry outbursts, controlling, they're bullies, they're explosive, they are behaviorally irritated, they're judgmental, they slam doors, they self-harm, there's an aggression nature to it. It's not wrong. It's just a pattern. The trauma response of a nervous system that's overly in the feminine, overly in the yin, that actually needs a bit more yang, that needs a bit more discipline, like robustness, more health, has a difficulty making decision. It gets stuck. It's dissociating. Resting bitch face, those women or men that you see, and they're just like flat faced. They don't have anything happening in their expression. That's a freeze response where the vagus nerve has gone offline, and it's like difficult to watch. You're just like, are you there? Is there anybody in there? Like, I don't even know if there's a human that's alive in here. They've completely collapsed energetically. So there's this feeling of numbness, shutdown, exhaustion. If you're experiencing hypersensitivity or exhaustion or like weak boundaries, like these are kind of the common responses of a nervous system that is looking for a bit more yang. It's looking for how to build a bit more containment for self so that it can feel itself. The fawning is the most common response that we get when we've been in a relationship with somebody that is in the fight and the flight for a really long time, or you were raised by somebody that was really aggressive or angry, or they were really inconsistent in the way that they took care of you when you were young. So this leads to a pattern in the nervous system where when the wound is alive, when we're agitated in some way where we feel like an overwhelm in our system, this is people pleasing, this is overwhelmed, there's no boundaries, there's a lack of identity. This is where codependence shows up the most. This can be in men or in women. It doesn't need to be that it's particularly associated with feminine. There's an appeasingness, there's a disengagement, and there's over self-critique is the most common thing that happens. So in this program, I'm going to help you start to understand how to create clear sight, wise action, and radical responsibility so that you can develop your agency to see clearly what it is that you're choosing in your patterns, how your patterns are showing up based on your gene keys, like based on the imprint of what your soul is here to have as a journey. Not everybody else's soul, not some coaching program, but like your specific response to life is like perfect to you. It's bespoke to your life experience. And then the other side. So once we've started to develop this ability to develop our own autonomy and agency, the next section, if you're really solid in that, then you're probably struggling with the embodiment, which is trust. It's to experience abundance all around you. It's to come into a space of radical gratitude where your frequency draws miracles to you. You become highly magnetic. Life becomes easy because everything that you're experiencing as beautiful, other people want to be a part of. And then it starts this incredible opportunity where we attract the right people to us. We attract the right experiences to us. And we're able to move through transformation more easily because we have our own containment. We are able to confer safety to our nervous system so that our nervous system can stop choosing these old patterns of reaction or repression, overly yang or overly yin. The yin creates this experience of ecstasy. It creates delight in the body. It feels really, really, really good to live life this way, knowing when to rest, knowing when to move, knowing what's a truth, knowing what's a lie, knowing what's right for you, allowing everybody to be in the space of whatever their experience is. I call this heart husbandry. It's a really magnificent process that is called the alchemy of heart belly. It's a big part of this program. In particular, it's a big part of the way that we can become our own medicine. Whenever a trigger shows up, no matter what that trigger is, and maybe it's like something like, oh my God, I need to re-roof my house and I don't have the $10,000 that it's going to take. There's a reaction in the nervous system when you receive that information in the outside world will run a response through the nervous system. And in some cases, if, for example, you're overly in the yin, that might create the energy body to shut down and just be like, I just give up. Life is too hard. I'm not able to do this. I'm not able to meet this. Everybody else is the problem. There's like a projection theme that's like located around this, or the theme will be, I'm the problem. I make bad decisions. Like it's like self-deprecating by its nature. Let me know if that sounds familiar. If you're overly in the yang expression, when the information comes in, it can be this reactive outburst. And it'll be, how dare anybody charge $10,000 to re-roof a house? Or, how dare my kids blank or whatever, it'll be like, it'll be the energy goes outward. And what I want to teach you is how to thread the needle between the two, to have a response that experiences the pain sensation, that experiences the fear, that goes, okay, how do I meet life with this? How do I see where there's opportunities around me? How do I repattern my nervous system so that it's not hypervigilantly looking for what's wrong all the time and instead is able to see where there's opportunities all around me? There might be grants available. There might be a loan that I could get from my family. There might be an opportunity to refinance my mortgage. Like, for some people, this is obvious. For other members of the human tribe, the idea of being able to experience peace, abundance, to experience yourself as thriving in relationships, it's ever evasive. It's like I can never really get it right. And so that's why I only teach this way now. I only teach people how to do this awakening work when they're able to understand how to work with their nervous system. This particular program, I've priced it incredibly reasonably because I'm a single mom. I have a special needs son. I have done so much of this work myself and invested in so much of this work myself and gotten like sort of mixed information around stuff that just was like so incredibly expensive. $10,000 for different programs that you're like, why does it need to be so unattainable for most people to be able to integrate this into their life? So it's $297 for 3 months. So 6 workshops, including your activation sequence. So you have an online portal that's curated to you through Gene Keys that specifically helps you when I'm not working with you. If for some reason that amount of money is inaccessible to you, I have a payment plan where you can pay, I think it's $86.75 per month. So the first payment comes out when you purchase the program, that's your deposit. And then 30 days later, there's another payment, and then it happens for 3 more installments. So the whole program is broken down into 4 installments. I really wanted to make this accessible to people, and I really want to make it so that the financial strain doesn't feel like this extra burden on the nervous system when it's trying to move through transformation. And once you get these skills, once you start to see how to apply your own regulation to the information that's coming in, there's a sweetness to life. There's a softening to life. There's like this deep sense of peace and cellular certainty. The cells in my body, it's not like I don't have triggers anymore. I just turn them into opportunities for transformation. So everything that shows up has kind of like this moment of like, oh no, wait, hang on. This is exactly what life is about. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be working with right now. And it becomes kind of fun. It becomes really kind of sweet to navigate life in this way. It becomes magnetic to other people to work in life this way. So please let me know if you have any questions, if you need to negotiate some way for you to be able to show up and be a part of this. I would love that. Like, please do this as a Christmas gift for people. Help other people in your life be able to do this work, because as we individually work on ourselves and start to move through transformation, we start to create a world where we are able to love one another more easily. And I know that sounds really kumbaya and very woo, but it's quite magical. It is quite magical to live in this way. Final thoughts. Let's just have an experience together. Why don't we just, you've watched the video for this long, give me a few minutes to talk you through what this could be like so you can get a sense of this in your nervous system. So we're going to develop some body consciousness right now. We're going to actually start to really turn up the volume of the ear of our human experience. That is our body's consciousness, our body's wisdom. So my invitation is close your eyes so that you can turn your gaze away from the outer world and turn towards the inner world. From that space, enjoy a breath. What does it feel like to witness my body moving over my breath? As I inhale, I fill myself up. And I move in all directions. And as I exhale, I surrender. And I come back to my center. See if you can imagine in your mind's eye that you are in an open lake or on the top of a mountain or somewhere where you look around and all there is space. You're warm. There's nothing that can harm you in this place. You're completely protected. There's nowhere to be, and there's nothing to figure out. There's you and all of this space. Just noticing for a second what it feels like. What does it feel like to not have anything to do? Does it feel like to not need to figure anything out? What does it feel like to be so comfortable in your body? We're going to use this awareness to map. So there is my human experience before, and there's my human experience now. As I'm experiencing myself, I've created a bigger container. My problems are not so big when I create a bigger container. There's nothing to figure out here. And see if you can find a charge in your memory or something that you've been working with lately that has been causing you some agitation, some disrest. And see if you can just invite a small part of that charge to be felt in your belly. So a little bit of a, and you've probably already done it already. That old idea, that old thing that's been in my crawl. I've been chewing on it. We just want a little tiny bit of that. See if you can observe that little tiny bit of that quote unquote problem. Do you need more space? Do you need a bigger container? Did you bite off more than you could chew? That is the wise action of heart husbandry. Oh, did I take on too much? Was I unkind to myself? When we have a father wound or a mother wound, which almost everyone has, there's an element of navigating too much or not enough. So just be honest with yourself. Did I take on too much? Am I feeling overwhelmed by that charge? Or do I feel like, no, I got this. I can work with this. See if you can allow yourself to be present in your experience right now. I am here and I'm allowing this information, this data, this artifact from my story to be here also. What does it feel like? Does it feel like constriction? Does it feel like collapse? Or does it feel like anger or remorse? Maybe it feels like regret. See if you can hold that witnessing. I am here, and a small part of my human journey is here also. Notice if you've merged with it and gone into the story. Notice if your mind is taken that charge and is up on its soapbox and telling a righteous story. Thank you, mind. Right now, I'm just going to be with this. I'm going to allow it to be here, and I'm not going to move to change it or do anything about it. I'm going to be. I'm going to be in the yin. I'm going to feel a little bit of this regret or this constriction. What is the regret showing me? Oh, yeah. I did know better. I would like to not choose that again. Regret is such an incredible teacher. And thank you. Thank you for showing me. I can appreciate that I'm learning. I'm turning that pain into wisdom. I now know that stove is hot. I'm not going to touch it again. Not in the same way. Notice if you've merged with the story. See if you can come back to the witnessing. Expand your container. Can I be a little bit more objective about it? Can I tell the story in this way where there's a little bit less feeling? Oh, yeah, that was just part of my journey. Oh, right. That's that thing that I did before that doesn't have influence over me now. That's greater container, greater yang, greater awareness, greater discernment. Aha, I see it now. Wow, thank you. I know better. Cool. Can you be with that? Can you be with your evolution? Can you hold gratitude for it? Can you appreciate? Ah, I do know better. I am wiser. I am coming more into mastery. Look at me go. You're allowed to be proud of yourself. You're allowed to develop your esteem around choosing what is right for you. Nobody needs to be bad and wrong for you to choose what's right for you. Permission to be in transformation. There's nothing wrong. It's a little bit of chaos. It's a little bit of transformation. There's a little bit of newness. It's okay. I got this. And then notice how your body is. So, am I feeling loose and easy? Am I feeling strict and firm? See if you can find somewhere in between. So, as we come out of this meditation, I want you to totally come into an embodiment of collapse. So, let your pelvis soften so that your spine rounds, your head can bow, you can gaze internally downward. Sort of come into a position of resignation. I give up. This is stupid. I never want to do it again. That's a place that we go to sometimes. It's okay. Or press into your pelvis, reach through the crown of your head, send your heart forward, shoulders back, prideful posture, long in the neck, soft in the heart, soft in your pelvis. Can you hold the response that is formidable and boundaried and structured and clear? Can you go a little bit too militant and rigid? You get kind of like in the like, it's gotta be this way, it's only my way. This is like, feel that embodiment. It's only my way. It's my way or the highway, right? That is one expression of energy. And then there's somewhere in between. So allow your posture to take that somewhere in between, not fully collapsed and resigned, not into the victim or the overly martyrish, but not over into the overly fixed, the overly structured. There's a space right in between. Can you embrace that space? Can you allow and accept that you are moving through transformation and embrace your capacity to do it? Can you embrace your responsiveness to deeply listen to the intelligence of your nervous system, as well as to come into a whole experience where every shadow is welcome, every opportunity is a gift? I can hold gratitude for my life and my health and my being, and I can trust that tomorrow is going to lead to a greater and greater expression of my whole human experience. And then on your next breath, you can roll your neck out, give your body a little shake, open your eyes, allow your gaze to be cast down, coming back into the outside world with intention, with openness. These are the ways that we become our alchemists. We get super good at moving through change. Challenge still shows up. Crisis will still be illuminated in the outside world, but it becomes fun. There's a delight to it. Challenges are met with a wry smile and a sweetness. So it's It takes about 90 days is what I've found. It takes about 90 days to digest old patterns and build new ones. So that's why this program is developed this way. And I hope you are interested in joining. I would love to have you a part of the classes. They're available on Wednesdays and Saturdays starting January 15th, 2025. You can come to the Wednesday class and then love it so much that you want to come to the Friday class. Totally an option. The other thing is that every class is recorded. So you'll have a library of these workshops to do in your own time. If you're busy those times or you miss one of them, it's no big deal. You'll get an email that covers all of the classes so far so that you can always go back and recap them. And that goes with your gene keys. It's everything that I wish I would have had when I started this journey, and I want to give it to people that are really interested in making meaningful change. And like I said, it might not be sexy, it might not be a big Shazam, but it is meaningful change that will create greater and greater levels of health, of abundance, of joy, of deep, deep, deep honoring of yourself and others. This is how we create a new world. And I hope you'll join me. Blessings. Be well.